Hello, welcome to Signal and Noise. It's our first podcast. Andrew, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. It is good to be back in the podcasting world with you, Brian.
Signal and Noise. It's our new podcast. It's our third that we've worked on, brought to you by our new employer, ROI Rocket, a market once company. And man, I'm so excited to kind of get back in the swing of podcasting and back out there. It's been a little while, a year and a half for me, a couple of years for close to a couple of years for you, and excited to talk to you.
Yeah, well, and let's not forget our brief but loyal listeners to the N equals two podcast. Very exciting guest list there, lots of good topics, but unfortunately it was cut short after the acquisition of Trackline by Open Brand. So
Yeah,
really thrilled to be getting back into this. A lot of the same vibe. You and I kind of in control of the content calendar here, hitting the topics hard, getting our friends, our clients, experts from the industry on the show. A lot of people respect what you have to say, Brian, and hopefully tolerate my opinions as well. But we're just excited to be here talking about what's going on in marketing research.
agree. There's so much going on, and so far, no one's put any boundaries on us in terms of what we can talk about. I think we can come on here and be edgy, give our honest takes. There's a lot going on in marketing research right now. It is a weird, incredible time to be in this industry,
Hmm.
and we're going to tackle these conversations. Some of them are not going to be pretty. Some of them might be, I don't know if the word's controversial, but argumentative possibly, because
Hmm.
so much going on, and we're going to talk about it. All the hot topics, all the trends, all the news. We'll bring hot guests on to talk about them as well. We want the feedback. You know, that's how I learn is by talking to people and people challenging me and talking to my peers and talking to people smarter than me and talking to people in other industries. And this is a forum to do that. And it's one of the ways that I've really, I bet you'd say the same thing, really progressed in my career is number one, the prep to kind of get on and do a podcast about this. We just don't wake up and get on a podcast. It's kind of what I do is the prep for this podcast. Listen to the news, talk about topics, investigate them, study them, and so this helps me stay on my toes and stay on top of things. And then we can go out and really help our clients and educate them because most people don't have time to study all the different things that are going on in this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Looking at my LinkedIn feed, everything from posts that people are firing off to really thoroughly researched and well-written articles to marketing-esque research on research. There's never been more information available about our space. Just this morning, I was on a call with a client about a project, totally unrelated, and we ended up going on a 20-minute rant about synthetic sample. So really hoping that during this time when trying to get information about the marketing research space is like taking a drink from a fire hose,
Yeah.
we can help our listeners separate the signal from the noise. How
Uh,
about that? How about that?
best transition.
So what can people expect from signal and noise, Brian? What's our format going to be? How often are we going to be, releasing so that those who want to can follow along?
I think it'll be similar to the previous podcast, right? And you and I primarily every episode will bring guests on, both internal and external, frequently. You and I going back and forth. I'd like to do it every other week. You'd like to do it every week. I have a feeling it'll work out to be right in the middle of that, so because of our travel and personal lives and conferences we attend. So I would say expect 2 to 4 episodes a month, maybe 3 to 4, maybe. We have a new producer, so we'll see how fast those get turned around. And yeah, that's what I expect from it is to get them out there as fast as possible. Some topics aren't urgent, some are, and so we want to get that out there and be kind of the water cooler talk as we have been in the past. It's just some 2 or 3 guys just kind of talking about current topics and learning just like our listeners are. Some of these topics we're talking about, and we'll get into this, artificial intelligence and synthetic data and all this new forms of data are a little bit foreign to our industry.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we're going to be learning along the way. Um, and yeah,
Yeah. So at this point, people do kind of know what to expect around the Brian and Andrew show, what you and I do on a podcast, what we do on the road, what we do on a webinar. What do people need to know about where we are now? ROI Rocket, Market Once, our wonderful sponsors of this show. What can they come to expect from those companies, and who are they?
So ROI Rocket, I think most of our listeners probably know ROI Rocket as a sample company. That's kind of what I knew them as. We worked with them I worked with them my whole
Mhm,
12 years, last 12 years. So I knew the people really well, much more than a sample company. I would not even call it a sample company. I would call them a full service company, specializing in quantitative research, qualitative research, and we also obviously have proprietary panels. And that's one of the primary reasons I joined the company as well is the incredible proprietary panels we'll get into over probably almost
mhm,
every episode. We'll get into that, but proprietary, Hispanic, B2B, healthcare, consumer, moms, lots of different panels, which we'll have our panel team on as
mhm,
well because they're amazing. That's what I would say as a company. Most people probably know them as a sample company, but they're really a full service company.
mhm. Yeah, full service for online surveys. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so tell me about Market Once, right? All of our signature lines say ROI Rocket, a Market Once company, and so will our podcast.
Yeah.
Less people have heard about Market Once. My favorite business tagline ever: market once, measure twice, market once. Just fantastic. I think my
Yep.
dad probably told me to measure twice, cut once about 1,000 times during my
Yeah.
childhood. So I adore that tagline, and it really aligns well with the main reason that you and I ended up here, Brian, which is that the panels that are here at ROI Rocket and the technology and methodologies that we have when we are aggregating, when we're programming, when we're, fielding, using proprietary fielding technologies and things of that nature. ROI Rocket's been around for a while, and a
Yep.
lot of people are familiar with the name. But the main part of our story is that we have never, and sometimes to our detriment, I think, our financial detriment, not to the detriment of the quality of what we do. We, we've never deviated from sound, fundamental. I'd almost call them old school or back to basic practices around validation, around recruitment, and it's just created, you know, these assets that are of incredibly high data quality. I've closed a couple studies in the last few months here with 3%, 3.5%. I had a B2B study with a 0% rate, Brian. And this is from a client who cleans their data really well. We were on a study against two other providers with them, and they removed 15% of our data, 40% of another, and 70% of the third panel. And that kind of measure twice, market once philosophy, our clients are making risky business decisions. We're going to give them the best quality so that they can be confident in the decisions that they're making. It's a little bit of a pitch, but I love the tagline and I love what we're doing here. And when I was making a decision to come back into sampling, my clients have always put a lot of trust in me, and I knew that I would lose that trust if I went anywhere other than the company with the absolute best sample that I had ever. Right, I was ROI Rocket's client for years and years,
Yep.
and
Studied
happy to be here
the
now.
channel for a decade, so I probably knew it better than a lot of my coworkers on my first day. Yeah, well, I can't
Absolutely.
to talk about how we do all that.
Mm.
RY Rocket has this incredible panel. I, we'll get into it. So follow us over the time, and you'll hear way too much about it probably because we're really proud of it, and it's great to kind of like, oh my gosh, I get to study a proprietary panel. I've never been able to do that before. I've studied panels for a long time and studied them as well, and I can get really into it now. It's really fun. But yeah, Market Once, I would call them a proprietary, a holding company, right? So there's other
Yep,
forms of business that are part of the company, Be Accountable, and we have this all these groups of people that are part of the company that we have access to, which is really, really
absolutely.
yeah.
So, you know, what have you been up to the last 18 months, Brian? I think some people kind of know a little bit about Open Brand. Maybe they listened to
Yeah.
10 equals 2. But now that we are back in
Yeah.
our core space, hopefully we'll have a lot more eyes and ears on us. Where have you been? What's been going on?
Yeah, our stories are probably not all that different actually, but yeah, about a year and a half ago, I went and worked at the Stevenson Company, and love those people. David Stevenson, the owner, and Steve Lisi, and those guys. I've known them for a long time. Great people, have a really cool offering. They're right down the road in Louisville, Kentucky, and it was such an amazing opportunity um, working on syndicated data, syndicated tracking study, and I got to analyze that data, and I got to work closely to brands and how they leverage data. And it was an amazing opportunity to not just look at survey data, but also the third party data, which I'm sure you'll talk about too. All this other data, um, company was being acquired and rebranded into Open Brand, and not really a marketing. I guess it's a marketing research company, and that's a topic I want to explore as this goes on. As a huge topic that I want to talk about. But they were really focused on transactional data and any type of data they can get about a brand and leveraging that into a market share and other insights, and survey research was part of that. So I got the man, it was an amazing opportunity, and I love those people over there at Open Brand. But the former Stevenson Company people, just great people, it was an amazing opportunity. Steve Lisi, friend of mine, um, amazing opportunity. And then that's what I did for a little over a year till after the acquisition, and then um, moved on as they started working differently with data and survey data itself. And a few months in, that's when I kind of drug you with me, right?
Well, yeah, that's right. So when you moved to Stevenson, I quickly followed, and then I made the jump over here to ROI Rocket, and you also quickly followed.
Yeah,
At this point, I think we're a package deal. I love it. It's a 1-2
right.
punch. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I was also at Stevenson, also at Open Brand. Was working there as head of new accounts. It was a fun role, an exciting role. The team over there, Greg Munvies, Natalie Seidman, just absolute superstars. I learned so much from them in my
Yes,
short time there about how to run a sales team, how to provide amazing customer experiences for our clients, and just so excited to be here. At ROI, I'm now our head of client development. So, working with strategic accounts and making sure that our systems, technology, people, and processes are all aligned to provide the wonderful experience, consultative experience, value add experience. Some may even say white glove that our clients demand and have come to expect from working with you and I. So really excited to be here. Now, but Brian, so you've been with ROI Rocket for quite some time now. No one's
yeah,
heard from you
yeah.
until this week,
Today, yeah,
until today. So what have you been up to while you've been working in the shadows?
yeah. But in the shadows for a little while. We all have documents we've signed in the past, and
Mhm,
that's to
mhm.
protect clients and things like that. And so I'm really happy that ROI Rocket allowed me to join the company. And I've been behind the scenes, working on this behind the scenes, managing our panel network, building our panel network, putting together efficiencies. And I'm going to do a rant later, but collecting panel books and reading SMR 37s, just like the old days, and having panel conversation after panel conversation. So if you work at a panel, I've probably talked to you in the last 6 months and
Mhm.
learned about your newest offering and learned about what's going on and just kind of caught up. So it's been a lot of behind the scenes, internal discussions, helping people identify new panels or partners that they can work with, because we have a lot of teams we'll get to. I don't know how many times we have. I think we have around 8 different teams that work independently of each other, and there's not a centralized sample person that's buying all those sample, and a lot of the insights aren't being shared across the team. So I'm helping do that. So uh, I'm just going to throw out some names. So one team, this is all fake, but one team may love Taluna or Dynata. Another team may have never heard of Dynata or Taluna, right? And so part of my role is to kind of make it cohesive and make sure all the teams are aware who the best panel is in Australia and who you should use for B2B in Russia, etc. And so it's been a lot of fun. There's a lot of new panels out there. Like in the past year and a half, things have changed a lot.
Mhm.
But yeah, but behind the scenes, it's kind of like a lot of what I was doing before at some points in my career at EMI was studying panels and what's new and the latest and greatest and what's going on with data quality, those types of things. So I'm no longer behind the scenes. I'm now to kind of do whatever I want. So if I've been avoiding your call or your email or been a bad friend over the past year and a half, that changes this week. Hopefully, you've already heard from me. If you haven't, you will be soon because it's a little bit of a burden. Um, and I appreciate ROI Rocket really bringing and you on during this
Mhm,
time as well, and others on their team as well from our old
mhm.
days.
Yeah. So the Sultan of Sample is back and doing what he does best.
That's right. Doing something very similar, obviously podcasting, studying panels, studying a proprietary panel,
Mhm,
helping make our own panels more efficient, and you know, doing things I hadn't done before, which is trying to the lifetime value of a panelist, how to make panelists happy, those types of things, which I hadn't done before, and studying like incentives and talking to panelists.
mhm.
I get to talk to panelists all the time if I want to,
Oh,
call them
wow.
up, and that's a lot of fun for me to get research, study, and improve the experience for the respondent. I have access to respondents. Before in our old days, we didn't really have that opportunity. It was rare if we did.
Mhm,
So I'm so excited to be here. Great team. Um, I knew a few people. Obviously, knew Tim Wilson, Tim McGrath, and Ashley. Everybody knows Ashley working sampling. Knew a few other people as well, but so nice to work with so many amazing people and a lot of younger people, and I can
mhm.
help be a mentor to a lot of the people in the company. Me. That's something that I really,
Yeah.
really thrive on and really gets me going. Is when I think I can help people progress in their career or learn something new. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, hey, that's how I got to where I am, Brian, was with your help teaching me about the space.
And all
Well,
your hard work on the weekends. Don't
well,
forget
yes.
a little bit of that.
Well, wonderful. So we've kind of caught people up on where we are, what we're going, where
Yeah,
we're going, what they can expect. Thank you all for listening to that. This is an obligatory introductory episode.
yeah.
We should certainly give the people what they want. What are some topics that we think are hot topics? We'll do this quickly, and then maybe a little bit of a research rant at the end for
Yeah.
some zesty end to the podcast.
So putting this together, we decided to do our top three favorite news stories past 18 months. And I know you sent yours. I didn't read yours, so there might be some overlap, but I'll be quick. Obviously, the OP4G indictment. I'm sure that's on your list. That's on everybody's list. It really shook up the whole industry, and the reaction to it. I don't think the reaction was um, as bad as people expected. We can get into more of that. Second one is AI frenzy. What I'm calling it is everybody's scrambling. Am I using AI correctly? Should I buy AI? Who's this new AI company? Is everything real? Um, that's number two for me. And then the third one, I'm still involved in the Inside Association Council for Data Integrity and the Global Data Quality groups. And I think that there's been a lot of progress being made there. And so to me, that's one of the bigger stories is that a lot of times these groups of people get together and they kind of fall apart after a year. But this is really continued momentum and a lot of progress. And we'll talk more about that too. We'll have some Inside Association people on and substantive improvements in the industry. And I think we should all be really proud of that. That's my three.
Yeah. So my three favorite news stories, I of course will also say the indictments. There's never been such a buzz about quality. And I think the reason that it's my favorite is because the pendulum has been making a slow creaking swing back towards quality over the last several years. And that story really emphasizing the need to know how respondents are validated and where they're coming from pushes the pendulum back towards quality even more. And it does it in a way that's not just about quantitative results.
Yep.
It's about really understanding whether or not your provider has a one-to-one relationship with that respondent and that they are who they say they are, not just that they're providing data that looks good or that they came from somewhere that wasn't caught by a filter. So while harrowing to our space, while it raised a lot of eyebrows, I had to have a lot of meetings and calls with many of my clients. At the same time, I think that it was necessary. And so that's one of my favorite news stories. Second thing that I'll say is actually kind of like a genre of news stories, which is A lot of people posting research on research about how good their sample is, Brian.
Yeah, after the indictment, everybody was like, "No, ours is the best. Ours is the best." It's kind of funny.
You guys are worried about the quality of your sample? Here's a victory lap from research on research that we won't tell you how we did. Um, you know, I find it good that people are talking about it, and I find it cynically amusing that there are companies who are doing these kinds of things, and like it's one of my pet peeves. Maybe this will be a research rant. People in the sample space forget that, if you're like in sales or you're in marketing, and they forget that every single one of our buyers and clients are expert researchers, and marketing research is a science. And so when you put out a story that says, "Oh, we quote unquote caught 40% of people more than without a fraud detection," or "Look, if you use our fraud detection and this and this and this, the data looks different," or "We had a 4% removal rate against two providers who we won't tell you who they are." Like, we understand the scientific design of these kinds of things, and it does not land the way that people think that it will.
Yeah,
Um, So, okay, that'll kind of be my mini rant. Last thing, of course, we have to talk about synthetic sample. There's nothing that I talk more to clients about than synthetic sample.
really.
We'll have, I'm sure, 3 episodes on it.
Oh
I'd
gosh.
I'd love to talk to people who've
When I
done
get
research
now
on
I'm allowed to
research.
talk to clients, I better start boning up my synthetic sample takes, huh?
Your synthetic sample POV is already very developed, Brian. We'll get into that in a little bit on another episode, but I'd love to talk to someone who's building a synthetic panel. I'd love to talk
Yeah,
to someone who's done research on synthetic panels. I'd
yeah,
love to talk to someone who thinks it's a bad idea, someone who thinks it's a good idea. We
yeah.
really got to dig into this topic because it poses some of the largest threats and largest opportunities for our industry going forward.
I
Um,
agree to interject. I want to know the Patrick Comer of synthetic sample.
Absolutely.
Bring yes, I want to know that guy. The industry needs to know that who that guy or girl is.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So yeah, those would be my 3 favorite topics or
yeah,
news stories from the last 18 months. Everyone's tired of hearing about OP4G and Slice. We definitely won't do an episode on that, but everything else, ready to dive in.
if there's prison time or once that case closes, we're gonna have to. We'll get a federal district attorney on or something.
There we go.
Yeah, do a little high level trends discussion before we rant and close out.
Absolutely.
Okay. I was just thinking about trends. We'll cover all of these in some shape or form. Obviously, we're going to talk about artificial intelligence. It is rampant. I recommend everybody done this for a long time to at least play around with it at a minimum and see where you can build efficiencies. I know you and I are both heavy users of artificial intelligence,
Mhm.
and I think we're becoming to the phase where we know where to use it, where it can be helpful, where not to use it yet,
Mhm. Mhm.
and still playing around with it. And we're fortunate to work at a company that's kind of pushing
Mhm.
us to do that and giving us the ability to do that. Synthetic respondents you mentioned. I think there's always economic factors that is part of a trend, especially right now, what's going on in the economy. And depending on which economist you talk to, the economy is wonderful or it's going to crash, right? That affects research spend, that affects valuation of companies and therefore
Mhm.
consolidation. And then to me, data quality is something we'll probably talk about every episode in some shape or
Mhm.
form. And that is will never go away. I think that I have a new perspective on it than I did a year and a half ago, and I'm really happy to be in this place of my career to where I have a different perspective. So more to come on all those topics for me.
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah, I think, those are the top industry trends. I also love to see new panels popping up. Most of them seem to be expert network-esque. But seeing innovative recruiting approaches, innovative validation strategies and technologies, these are all
Yeah.
things that we'll continue to cover. Of course, synthetic, of course, AI, both how to use AI as well as AI fraud. Is it out there? Is it real? Can you catch it? These
Yeah.
are all things that we'll look forward to covering in the coming episodes.
Awesome.
Do you have a rant, Brian, to close this out?
I have a personal rant and then a professional rant.
Perfect.
personal rant, and I think I've done this before in the old days, but fireworks.
Mm,
It's 2025, and we're still excited about loud noises, bright lights in the sky. I don't understand it. At least they're now starting to do more drone shows. I can get on board with some drone shows, but I do not understand the appeal of fireworks. And I love America as much as anybody. I mean, I'll wear red, white, and blue. I'll go to a parade. I'll celebrate America, but I do not want to hear a firework. I'm just not a big fan. That's my personal rant.
all right, I'm gonna jump in and I'm
Yeah.
gonna wholeheartedly disagree with you. The
Good.
the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, Brian. There is nothing more American than pyrotechnics exploding in the sky, and without it, it is not the Fourth of July. So comment, reach out to us, let us know where you stand on the fireworks debate.
Team Brian on fireworks.
Team Brett, and let me be clear. I live in rural southeastern Indiana. I have been hearing fireworks since last weekend. I will continue to hear them probably until July 10th, and it's annoying. But let's not be against fireworks on the 4th of July, Lammy.
I'm not against fireworks on the 4th of July. I'm against really fireworks overall because, like you said,
Mm,
you know, people think, oh, it's July 1st. Here we go. And it might be noon on a Wednesday. It could be midnight. It doesn't matter anymore. And I feel like we need to place it. I'm fine with uh, society aligning. We're doing fireworks from dusk till 10 p.m. on this date, which is July 4th, hopefully. Then we cut it off. I could go into further rant. Animals are distracted.
mhm.
My poor dog. People can't sleep. People work different hours and different shifts. And so as long as we consolidate it to a 2 hour period.
Well, see, now you're thinking like a local government official, which you are. You
Which
you you can set that ordinance, Brian, but for me and the rest of the people in southeastern Indiana, team fireworks. Let us know where you
I'm
stand.
still an elected official. I still have that
Yep.
role.
Yep.
Um, I think I actually know what I'm doing now. I've been doing that for 5 years,
Mhm.
over 5 years now, which is kind of crazy to say that out loud. But we'll get more of that as well, our personal lives. Um, Professional rant. Panel books are horrible. They have been for some time. They're used as a marketing and sales tool. And I don't care how many respondents you claim or active participants you claim to have in 487 countries in the world, including planets, countries that don't even exist yet or don't have internet that
Mm.
you have rep sample for. Um, I feel like somehow, somewhere, somebody built a panel book like that and everybody replicated it, and then we've
Mhm.
just never changed. There are a million things I should change. By the way, our rockets probably is similar to everybody else's too. Um, but I just hate panel books so much because students have been evaluated probably well over 1,000 different panel books in my
Yep.
career,
We've read
probably
a lot of them.
close to 2,000 panel books that I just question every number, every word said. It's about the people, about the relationships, about what you said before, the one-to-one relationship with the panelists and the company. Um, and it's about all ways that they validate, verify, and that's tough to put in a panel book. I get it, but I don't even think they're useful anymore. And the SMR 37 is pretty similar. We're starting to police that a little bit better, I think, a little bit. But that's my that's my professional rant. Panel books and how to evaluate differences in panels using a panel book. It's not really a good way to do
Yeah, my official rant, I'll build on yours just the same way I built off your personal rant.
it.
I I agree. It's never been more difficult to assess a potential new panel vendor. Everyone verifies everything.
Yep.
Everything is validated. Everything is recruited from only the best sources, and everyone has every capability.
Everybody's
I
had mobile verification and a phone call and a focus group and a LinkedIn verification, and we mailed them a postcard and we've got a QR code and we triple opt in and blah blah blah.
we
Right?
DNA tested them to make sure they were this other. Yeah, and I can't tell you how many meetings I've sat in with a new panel provider who's told me all of those things, and then I buy a sample from them, and it's all just absolute garbage.
Yeah,
So, yep, maybe that's something that we can talk about: how to vet and validate partners. We can go in depth on that. We've certainly learned a lot in the past 6 7 months being here at RI Rocket,
I've got a whole new way
seeing
of doing it.
yeah, Yeah. But that's just kind of my rant. If you're a person in panel sales and you're out there talking about something that you don't understand or something you know not to be true, just stop. Your company has a place in the ecosystem,
Yeah.
regardless of what you're actually good at. Or, you know what? There are lots of people who like to buy cheap sample. If it's a low risk decision or there's incredible pricing pressure from their clients, maybe they have some slick way that they don't mind cleaning 50% of the data out. There is a place for you. So
Oh,
stop blowing smoke up everyone and then no one trusts panel providers because of that. So I've always led with honesty and transparency and trying to be as expert as I can with my clients. And if you work in panel sales, first of all, delete your panel book PDF. It's long, no one reads it. If you send physical copies, they just go into the shredder. And then second, when you're giving your pitch, actually tell people where to use you and what you're good at. End of rant.
and get as focused and niche as possible.
Hmm.
I ask almost every panel I talk to, "What are you best at?" And I would tell them every panel claims they're the best at everything. They're the best at B2B and consumer and healthcare. They have everything profiled and they have every country and they're the best at all of them. I can't tell you which ones we're worse at. No, pick a lane, especially when people are vetting you as a new panel to work with or a new partner to work with. What are you really truly the best with? And we can grow from there. But I don't understand. People seem to think that they can somehow they're the best at everything in the world.
Love it.
But
Well, for
hey,
those of you who've listened this far, hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully you're at least excited that we are back. From here on out, all of our episodes will be extremely topical. They will be in depth. They will be fun. And we hope that they will provide a tremendous amount of value and help make you, our listeners, better researchers and participants in the industry.
yeah,
Brian, thanks so much. I'm just so happy to be here and doing this.
good to see you, even though you're, I don't know, 50 miles away at least. And next podcast, we'll be doing a little road show maybe, so it might be
Oh,
audio only, who
absolutely.
knows? Reach out to us, brian.lamar at royrocket.com and andrew.decilles at royrocket.com. My personal cell phone number, text me, call me, 513-289-6155. Anybody can call me for any reason. Prank call, whatever. And thanks for listening to Signal of Noise. Thanks, everybody.